Alright, so hear me out on this one, right? Hello, everybody. My name is Levy NG Trogu, and today I'm gonna be ranking 50 possible superpowers. I believe it's 50, from on a scale from 1 to 10, and above 10, depending on how just absolutely heavenly it would be to have that power, right? In real life, right? We have shit like animal control, weather control, invulnerability, x-ray vision, shit like that, right? So, with that being said, let's start it off with air manipulation. So the way I think about this is basically airbending from Avatar. Um, I don't know. I'm not sure how much this would help. I mean, depending on who you are, it could help a bit. But for me personally, it just seems like a cool party trick. Maybe with the tiniest bit of a like if you can change the temperature of the air surrounding you and only the stuff surrounding you, that sounds genuinely fan freaking tastic, right? So I'm gonna say 6 out of 10. Animal control, depending on what job you work in, I say it's either like a 8 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. Me personally, I'm saying 4 out of 10. I don't I don't see how useful that could be. Bone claws, absolutely a 1 out of 10. I am sorry. um, that's a no for me. The amount of like effort it would take to properly use that without fucking killing yourself is way too much. Anyways, channeling the devil. Um, Depending on your interpretation of what that means, I'm gonna say it's either like a 3 or a 10, right? Depending on what your version of the devil is, I'm gonna balance it out at an 8. Cause hear me out, if you can channel like the charisma of the devil, like kind of like what Lucifer does in the show Lucifer, where he like has heavenly charisma due to his desires, superpowers and shit. Like absolutely, that'd be a great power. That'd be overpowered as hell, right? So I'm gonna say solid 8 out of 10 just to balance it out. What the hell is a cybopath? What up? I Google this shit. Cybopath. No, one word. What do you do? Cybopath. Learn the history of whatever the user eats. Ah, so it's eating. I'm gonna say solid 3 out of 10, depending on what field you're in, right? If you're in like a inspection field or like a food curator, right? Shit like that. And then yeah, that would make sense. But as a normal regular day average Joe, I don't need to know how the sausage gets made. Or even the fact that the sausage isn't made of sausage. It's made of pig testicles or something. I don't know, man. I don't want cybopath. Cybopathy would suck for the most part. Communication with cities. Now, what mayhaps does this mean? Uh, that's a great question. I don't know what this means. I'm gonna assume it means like influence throughout the city. In which case I'm gonna put it at 5 depending on what that means. I don't know. Anyways, controlling the weather though is a solid 11 out of 10. Uh, you can convince people you're a god. You can make yourself in complete comfort all the time. You can summon tornadoes, summon lightning. You could theoretically walk on water by timing the ice to form underneath your feet fast enough. Right, like the shit you could do with controlling the weather puts it at like an 11, maybe even a 12 in my book. Spidey sense or danger warning, right? This would be, honestly, I'd say a solid 7 out of 10, depending on how far we're, like, if it says not only, like, physical danger, but, like, this is gonna fuck your mental as well, I'd say probably a 10, but since it seems to only be physical danger, I'm gonna say 7 out of 10. It would be very useful, but not the most useful. Density control in real life, that would probably be a solid 6 out of 10, depending on the field you work in. I don't know. It seems good, but I don't know. Earthquakes, 2 out of 10. Earthquakes can get very dangerous very fast, so I don't really think that's too great. Electric manipulation. This would be great for an electrician. It'd be great for party tricks. Great in the military field. I'm saying an 8 out of 10. Right? Actually, no, I'll move it down to danger warning. I'll say 7 out of 10 because it's cool. It would be very effective in certain fields, but I don't necessarily think it would be like an everyday use thing. Right? Evil projections. Oh, depending on the person. I don't know. I feel like this could go hand in hand with channeling the devil, so I'll put it at 8. Feed on life energy. That depends. Do I need to feed off of it? Or is it just like if I want to live longer, I can do that? Because if so, I'm saying a solid 9 out of 10. I think it could be good. Hard light constructs. So you turn the light into a solid object, kind of like what's the buckets do? I complete like emotional constructs. I'm saying that's a solid 10 out of 10. Sorry, any sort of like multifaceted constructing ability is absolutely a top tier. Healing others, again, 9 out of 10. Can't heal yourself, which sucks, but if you can heal other people, you can make a killing, especially if you can cure diseases. Right? Healing factor. If you've seen Logan, you know why I'm putting it at a 2, right? I don't know, man. Healing factor is just it can be a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, ice manipulation. 6 out of 10. Similar reasons for the controlling the weather thing. The ice little woman. It would be great party trick. It could be very useful in real life. Just with if you're trying to pour a drink and you use some ice. Like I can see ways people would use it, but it isn't quite as. Actually, I'll move density control to 7 out of 10. But it isn't quite as useful in every day as like anything above it. Immovable. I 1 out of 10. I can't move, or no one can move me. 1 out of 10. Invisibility. Depending on the person, this can either be an 11 out of 10 ability or a 5 out of 10 ability. Depending on whether you can control it, it can be a 1 out of 10 ability or an 11 out of 10 ability. With that being said, I'm going to put it at a 7. It'd be great for stealth missions. It could be great if you're a freak, right? So I'm just leave it at that. Invulnerability. I'd say this would be good in a ton of manual labor fields, depending on how far your invulnerability stretches. Like, are you immune to cramps? Are you invulnerable to feeling pain? Are you invulnerable to feeling tired? If so, 11 out of 10. But I'm going to just say some basic limitations, say it's an 8. Liquefaction. 4 out of 10. It's not super useful, but I can see where air can be used. Magnetic manipulation. This is a solid 7 out of 10. Similar reasons to electric manipulation. It can be very useful in certain jobs, but in most everyday use, magnetic manipulation isn't the great. Mimic other powers. This would be literally fucking useless unless you're in a reality with powers, in which case, hopefully you don't mimic the wrong power. Organ rearranging. I'd say a 3 out of 10, I guess. I don't know, man. That's a bit weird, but I can see where it could possibly come in handy depending on certain fields. Phasing, this, depending on your control over it, right? Because if you can completely control how well you phase and when you phase and how you phase and all that, then I 100% think that it is an 11 out of 10 ability. I think it could be very useful in several fields, and I just think it's really fucking cool, right? um, but if you can't control your phasing and you just phase randomly, probably say it's a 1 out of 10, right? But I'm gonna assume that you have control over your phasing and can phase kind of like how the Flash does it, where he can control specific parts of his body that he phases, right? And with phasing, is there a slight super speed, right? Is there a slight super speed buff? Or what does this entail, right? Questions for later. Pheromones. 11 out of 10 for several reasons. Most of them being a bit weird, but I'd still say several reasons, yeah. Plant control. Depending on your field, it could be useful, but I'm saying it's a 6 out of 10. It's not necessarily something that I would use in my daily life. So, yeah. Same thing with poison generation. I'm going to put it slightly lower at a 4 out of 10, just because why would you be making poison unless you're a sociopath or a military worker? Like, it's a bit weird, but alright. Possession, 7 out of 10. Not quite daily life, but you could probably make a killing with it. Prehensile tendril. It's time for a vocabulary lesson. What the hell does prehensile? Tendrils are prehensile and sensitive to contact when slightly. Oh. Okay. Alright. Okay. So it's just having tentacles attached to you, I guess? I mean, it's a solid 5 out of 10. I guess in some fields it could be useful, but I wouldn't use it in most situations. Same thing with a psionic blast, though, depending on what exactly your definition of psionic means, 6 out of 10, but I'm gonna keep it at 5. Radiation's a solid 1 out of 10. Unless you have the ability to take it away, in which case I'd say it's a solid 7 out of 10. It's not necessarily something you would use in daily life, but on the other hand, if you work in a radiation field, or if you get hired by the government to help deradiate Chernobyl or one of their countless military radiation testing sites, you can make a living off of that. Reactive evolution. Okay, depending on how reactive this evolution is, like if it's a mental thing or it's just, again, similar to like the danger warning where it's only a physical thing, I'd say it's either an 11 or a 10. I'm saying it's a 10 though, just because of slight limitations that I'm giving it. But yeah. Reality warping. Ooh. I'm not quite too sure about this one. I don't know. If you can warp to a reality where reality where a specific event happens, and you can take something out of that reality, bring it back to your reality, use the thing in that reality, in your reality to give you more powers, absolutely an 11 out of 10, right? Like if I could warp to the reality where the Dragon Balls are real, and a version of me has collected the Dragon Balls, not scoop up the Dragon Balls, but slap myself, right? Because he's weak as me. Slap him around. Use the Dragon Balls. Wish for something powerful, right? 11 out of 10. I'll keep you a buck. I'm gonna say that's something you can do with it. Resurrection. Resurrection's a solid 7 out of 10. I mean, you can make a killing off of it, but that's actually something you'd use in daily life. Self-multiplication, on the other hand, is a solid 9 out of 10. I can see a lot of uses for it. Good, bad, and other. So I'd say 9 out of 10. Shape-shifting, solid 8 out of 10, depending on your uses. With great power comes great responsibility. Don't use it like a dumbass. Don't use it like a creep. Steel skin, 5 out of 10. Isn't a huge deal, right? Doesn't necessarily help or take away whatsoever, but it is definitely not the most helpful. Summoning the dead, I'd say solid 3 out of 10. Super hearing, solid 8 out of 10. Super intelligence, 10 out of 10. Super mentality. Who the fuck came up with this? Andrew Tate? I'm just kidding. I have no idea what this does, I'll be completely honest. And I'm going to bed because I'm tired and I have a long day ahead of me. So I'm gonna just skip the two that I have no idea what the fuck these are. Super speed, I'm just saying it's 11. I'm guessing this is super speed as in like the Speed Force from the Flash. So 11 out of 10 at the very minimum. Super strength, solid 7 out of 10. Actually no, 8 out of 10. Can be very useful but very bad in certain situations. The power cosmic is a solid 11 out of 10. If you get the powers of like any sort of cosmic being with any sort of reality altering shenanigans, then you win at life. Time travel, solid 10 out of 10. Water control, solid 8 out of 10. I think out of the basic elemental control, water's probably the best. Weapon hands, not super useful, so I'd say solid 4 out of 10. X-ray vision, 2 out of 10. With that being said, though, my name has been YVG Trogu. My brain stopped working. You lovely people in the audience, have a fantastic night. Peace. And then